You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. You look good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to a special post-game edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, a combined Hawkeye Report podcast, as well as the Iowa Hawkeyes just knocked off Penn State at Kinnick Stadium 25-24. And joining me, we're going to get right to him to talk all about it, is our good friend Tom Kakert, still working hard at Kinnick Stadium. Yeah. Tommy, Bears score, I think, is the first thing that we need to talk. I mean, Bears score, 25-24. That's it. It finished. Actually, it didn't even finish. It got 25-24. We're down there on the sideline, and you just turn to me right away, and it's going crazy, and you yell, Bears score. So 25-24, Iowa gets the job done in a crazy, weird, sloppy football game, but a thrilling game and a big victory for Iowa. Your thoughts on Iowa's big win at home this evening?
Well, for those who don't know, who might not be Bears fans, the last two Bears games have finished with the final score of 25-24. They beat the Raiders and they beat the Commanders last two games. So that's what that references is the Bears score of 25-24, which is fun. It amuses me. But is this kind of the Mark Gronowski game? Does it kind of become the Mark Gronowski game? Because without his wheels, they probably don't win this game.
And one of those wheels has a big old brace on it too, Tommy.
Yeah. Had a really great 38-yard run that helped get them in position to when they were down by 2 scores to kind of get back into the game and make it a 1-score game. And then obviously the 67-yard run late. It was funny talking to him post game, and I think Kirk would have echoed this, is that they kind of thought with 4:56 left, they'd probably do some sort of methodical drive and we'd all be on pins and needles in the final minute as they're trying to score a touchdown to take the lead. And the first play from scrimmage, he takes off running for 67 yards and they're down at the 8, and then Weegen's in one play later, and then they gotta hang on and try and get this win. And they did. The defense came up. Deshaun Lee with a big play on 4th and 4 to wrap it up. So just a lot of drama. Mark Gronowski finishes with 130 yards rushing. Kamari Moulton, I think, lost in the shuffle, 99 yards rushing. I thought he did a terrific job too. Iowa only 68 yards passing, and they won the game. So it's wild. Neither quarterback had over 100 yards. Grunkmeyer had 93, and Gronowski had 68. Old school Big Ten football, baby.
Tommy, it was a weird game, and it was a sloppy game. There are a list of plays that happened to Iowa that are almost game changers. You start with the first drive of the game. Yeah. I remember I turned to you. It was the second straight night game against a big-time opponent in which Iowa has thrown an interception on the first drive of the game. Eerily similar, too, because both kind of around the 30, 35-yard line where it set up the enemy to score, and then Iowa gets a chance to get out of it, and their quarterback sneaks free after a couple missed tackles, picks up a first down. Iowa stops him on 4th down to get the ball back at the goal line, and there's a offsides penalty, and Penn State scores. That's just the first series alone, Tommy. We'll talk about the 66-yard field goal that wasn't and all that kind of stuff. But just the beginning of this game, it was the second straight big-time night game at Kinnick Stadium that Iowa made a mistake early. And the interception isn't on Mark Gronowski. It went right off of, I believe, Jacob Gill's chest.
Bounced off Gill and fell into the hands of the Penn State player. And then, it was, you kind of just shook like, oh no. So, and then, I mean, can we talk about the end of the half? Because that was something. The final 2 minutes.
I don't know if Kirk wants to talk about the. I don't know if Kirk wants to talk about the final part. He did a good job doing it.
He got super emotional talking about that. Mike Halas asked a good question because Kirk felt like he kind of almost cost his team the game by his decision to try to go for that 66-yard field goal. I didn't blame him for going for it. We'll rewind to a year ago, a little over a year ago, when they could have lined up for a 65-yard field goal or thereabouts against Iowa State, and they didn't, and they tried to just throw it into the end zone, and we know that did not end up well. And everybody kind of wondered, well, I'd rather see him take that long field goal. Okay, well, here you go. Ask and thou shalt receive. And Drew hit it low because you got to hit it low and with some power if you're going to think about getting it 66 yards, unless you're like Brandon Aubrey or who's the Bates guy for the
Jake Bates,
the
baby.
Lions.
Yeah.
Jake Bates, can he hit it like 70 yards too?
Yeah, he's pretty good. But
yeah. But those are like the two guys that I think of, like this monster legs in the NFL. And one of the Penn State guys gets a paw on it, and it ricochets back like to the 35-yard line, and this Elliott, oh boy, they're shutting the lights off here.
No, I think you just have to move. I think they're light sensitive. I think if you
there's no, they shut them off. Now they're coming back on, I think. So I may have to move into a different spot here.
This is creepier than normal, Tom. That was weird.
Yeah,
all of a sudden I could see your smiling face, and that's about it. What's Bailey Turner? What's White's doing to you? Come on.
I don't know. We're gonna have to move out here.
I'm loving this.
So,
this is live podcasting at its finest as Tom creepily moves through. Turn a light. Does the light turn on?
The light did not turn on, so I'm gonna have to sit back here and just kind of finish up.
How busy is it still?
There's probably a couple dozen people here. I mean, there's a lot of people still here.
So Tommy will be a little quieter,
into the night.
which is okay. But yeah, we'll get back to the field goal because it was an interesting and Tom, there was a kick before the kick because Penn State, I believe, called a timeout, and the practice kick, if you will, was like 10 yards short. I was surprised after that they continue to do it. And you talked about Kirk wore it. Kirk just said that was, I think he felt, it reminded me of, I listened to the post game. It reminded me of Dan Campbell cost his team a game year 1 or year 2, and he was pretty broken up about it. And I think that's what Kirk, I mean, he owned it. He taught, but Tom, it's so different. I know he loves Drew Stevens, has a lot of faith in him, but that's not Kirk Ferentz, and he took a risk. And I think everybody in the press box was a little surprised that he did it. And boy, that's a game-changing play. And Iowa already had the momentum because they were up 10-7. You know, they got greedy a little bit, but it was a really big play to end the half.
Yeah, we should mention that Iowa did get a turnover just before that, and Xavier Wampa with his first interception in a couple of years, and he ended up getting it down to the 1, and then Gronowski punches it in, and Iowa thinks they're probably going to go into half 10-7. Iowa gets a stop. Penn State has to punt it, and then there's a personal foul on Penn State that gets it out closer to midfield, and then Iowa tries the really long field goal with 6 seconds left, and it gets blocked, and Elliott Washington Jr. picks it up at the 35 and scoots into the end zone, and it's 14-10 instead of 10-7 at the break. And yeah, it just kind of took the air out of the balloon a little bit. And then Penn State gets the ball to start the second half, and Katron Allen, who was terrific, ended up with 140 plus yards rushing. What was the final total? 145 yards rushing. He kind of leads the way down the field and runs it in from 8 yards out to make it 21-10, and everybody's like, "Oh man, this thing changed and turned really quickly." But to Iowa's credit, they answered. Gronowski has that 38-yard run to get them down into position where they could get in the end zone, and eventually he does a little off-tackle run for 4 yards that he kind of called on his own. I thought that was interesting. One of the things that Gronowski said after the game was that that late run, the 14-yarder that kind of put the game away, and I think kind of like this 4-yard run too, or just kind of the 4-yard run. They called a pass play, and they looked at the defense, and they gave him a look that wasn't going to work for him. So they audibled to this play, and it worked perfectly. 4-yard run off the edge. He scooted in untouched. And then the 14-yard run to kind of seal the game, where they could go into victory formation. That was a play that only he and Lester knew about. Kamari said he did know about it too, but like the offensive linemen, they had no idea. They had no idea. It was like between him and Tim Lester that they were making this call, and he ran off the edge, and there they go.
Tom, I think it was funny because we had this feeling, I did, when it was 21-10, and the way the offense was playing, it felt like a pretty big hole. And you mentioned that was an impressive drive by Penn State, and we had a bunch of NFL scouts sitting up above us that probably were watching number 13 for Penn State and pretty impressed as they watched him do what he did. And it felt like Iowa needed to respond. And the big play in that drive, yes, the 4-yard touchdown, but again, it was Gronowski, like a 38-yard run to kind of get things rolling and for Iowa on third down as well. So that was a big play. That was something that needed to happen, needed to get done. And
Run
then
the move again, Matt.
Did you get booted out?
No, I forgot something, so I gotta run back in here quick.
This is amazing. Like Tom Kakert at his finest. Now he looks like he's going through a haunted house, which is kind of fun too. We'll focus though. We'll focus on Iowa because Iowa got 21-16 at that point. Tom, I'll tell you this, and I think I was in the minority. I know it was later third quarter and you wanted to get it to within one score. I don't know if you needed to go for two. I get the process of going for two, getting it to three. But again, when you were chasing for two, then it made it so you had to go for two again and you didn't get either. Yeah. If you just get a point, then you get that field goal advantage. I know ifs and buts. But anyways, I thought Penn State did a great job.
I don't have a problem going for two because I think that's what the analytics tell you should do.
I get it. I just wish Iowa could be better going for two.
This as a fan of the most aggressive head coach in the NFL, you should know and understand this stuff.
If Iowa had Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamerson Williams and Sam Laporta and Jared Goff, then yes, I would have been all for going for two there. It's just, and I didn't like the play call maybe, and I'm not being like Trust me.
That's the big problem is I think Iowa's play calls were not great. They need better 2-point plays.
Yeah, and bingo. Because I don't even know if they gave a play fake or even made it so that the run was a threat for the first one. Second one, we were down there. I know he just airmailed the wide receiver, but I don't know if it was too much of a run pass option. Anyways, besides all that, 21-16. I felt also, Tom, middle of the fourth quarter, it got to 24-19, and I felt like Iowa. As Iowa made their mistakes, and we talked about them, and they were pretty game-changing, Penn State made theirs as well. We talked about the first quarter or the first half interception by Xavier Wampa, who, by the way, Tom, I know you mentioned how well he played. He had 10 tackles, 7 solos, a tackle for loss, an interception. That might have been one of the best games of Xavier Wampa's career.
Best games he's played.
Easily. And so there was that play. And then Penn State went for it in their own 40. And Iowa could only get – and then very next play, Moulton, who you mentioned having a great game, plays really well, or gets it down to the 21-yard line. Iowa settles for 3 again. And so it's 21-19. When Penn State goes up 24-19, Tommy, we were heading down to the field, and it felt like, can this team – go 75 yards and score a touchdown to win a football game? And it kind of felt like Iowa State. Now the big difference is I think Mark Randazzo from Iowa State to now is a much different quarterback. Also, you're at home and all of those kind of things, but I figured, and you mentioned it, it'd be a grind it out, hope they get down and score, go for it on fourth down. If you would have told me, Tommy, if I would have said they're going to go 75 yards in 2 plays, you would have thought I was crazy. And the big play, obviously, was the Mark Gronowski 67-yard run to get
Especially
inside the 10.
Especially if you would have said that it was if you would have said Mark Gronowski's going to run for 67 yards, I would have said you're insane.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's got a bad knee.
Said, how did that happen?
He's got a big brace.
Yeah.
I mean, hats off.
He said he should have scored, except he needed to unhook the trailer, I think was the word he used.
Well, you have a bad knee. I think it's understandable. But and we talk with Pat Anger on this show a lot that he is a captain for a reason. And I think, yes, there's the flaws in maybe the passing game a little bit, although I think before tonight it was getting better. And Tom, I'll say this too, and not throwing wide receivers under the bus. Once again, the wide receivers aren't making a ton of plays, especially when you go back to the first quarter interception. I mean, that's a first down and a good ball, and it didn't happen. So just really happy for Mark Gronowski. And we're down on the sidelines, and the SIDs, Matt Weitzel, James Allen, they're trying to figure out about how long it's been since Iowa's had a quarterback run for 100 yards. It's been over 50 years. Tell the answer, Tommy.
Yeah, it's Butch Caldwell back in 1973.
Yeah.
Did it twice in that year. Yeah.
So it's impressive. And yes, it wasn't always. Here's what I'll say too, Tom, and I want to talk about this. If you're telling me that Iowa made all these game-changing negative plays and they still won a football game against a good team, and I know Penn State's struggling and all that kind of stuff, but talent-wise, you saw the NFL talent on the field. There's a lot of dudes on that team. That means Iowa's a pretty good football team, doesn't it?
I think you look at the results of the Indiana game too, and it's pretty undeniable that Iowa's a pretty good football team. Who would have thought, though, that this Penn State team would be sitting at 0-4 in Big Ten play?
Mind-boggling.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, I can't believe it. It's bizarre.
I think
unbelievable.
I think it sets up an interesting stretch run here. I want to talk about what's going to happen in next game and all that kind of stuff in a second. Going into the post game, obviously you talked to Kirk. You talked about him being a little. What else did you learn when you went back there, talked to players? What was the vibe? Obviously, an excited attitude. What did you learn in the post game? What's in the reporter's notebook?
Just Deshaun Lee, talking to him. Just the you look back, couple weeks ago, that Indiana game ends with Deshaun Lee basically getting beat on a slant, and Indiana scores that touchdown to go ahead and win the game. And now you see him a couple weeks later, he makes a spectacular interception that they reviewed and called an interception. And then he makes the play on fourth down to knock the ball down to break up a pass, a desperation throw from Ethan Grunkmeyer to try to keep that game alive. So just, I think the growth that, and Kirk said, didn't matter whatever was happening with the lineup. He shows up to practice and works his butt off every day with a smile on his face. And that's very telling. So happy for Deshaun, happy for Wampa, who we didn't get to talk to. Cohen Intringer, big game for him with 11 tackles, which I have to think is probably a career high for him, but I haven't checked. But I think it's probably a career high for him in tackles, and one of those for loss, which was a key play because that helped stymie that drive to hold them to a field goal when they were down inside the 10-yard line. So they had to settle for a field goal to keep Iowa within range. Yeah, those guys just, and Kamari's another guy worth mentioning because he kept them afloat, I think, for a lot of this game with some really hard running. So good job by him as well.
Tom, you mentioned that interception by Deshaun Lee, and I was over in the radio booth with Corey Sheets, and they went to a commercial break, and Pat's like, I think that's an interception, and everyone was kind of getting excited. It was a negative play for Iowa, wasn't it?
Yeah, because they had to.
That's as good of a punt as you're going to get. If you would have told Penn State, hey, you're punting
at the 4-yard line,
and you're going to down them at the 4, that's really, really good. So I thought that was intriguing, but also, an outstanding individual effort, individual play on their part for sure as well. Defensively, before we take a quick break and then kind of get back and finish up with some looking ahead to next week. Defensively, they gave up 24 points, which is a lot more than maybe you would have expected for this Iowa defense, but obviously 7 of them is a gift. The secondary, and I know it's against a backup quarterback, Tommy, but the secondary's been playing really, really well. And earlier in the season, they weren't turning the football over. What was wrong? Why weren't the big plays happening on defense? They've been coming. Last week, obviously, against Wisconsin, they played really well. This week, two turnovers, and obviously those fourth down stops are like turnovers, and they had 2 fourth down stops, including the one to win the game, although that was a little didn't you feel like something bad was going to happen when he chucked that thing down the field? Didn't you just expect there to be a Penn State receiver standing there for a first down? So defensively, especially secondary-wise, 100%. I thought they were playing – I think they're playing really well on the back end right now. And those 3 safeties, when you talk about Lutmer and Entringer and Xavier Wampa, difference makers and really good football players right now playing those positions back there in the back end.
Yeah, they're bringing some lumber too. They're hitting hard and they're really getting after it. And Lutmer's playing well. I thought X had his best game of maybe of his career, and Cohen's playing so good. He's just a really good football player. So all those guys doing a terrific job and making plays. And the Doe boys. Seth Wallace has been teasing him, calling him the No Boys, and but they're starting to make some turnover plays and some big hits and doing doughboy type things.
No, they're playing really well. Tommy, we're going to take a quick break, pay a few bills, come back, talk about Minnesota, what we know about that, kind of sets the stage for moving forward because big picture-wise, Iowa's now 5-2. You win against Minnesota, you're 6-2 going into a bye week, and suddenly that goal of maybe 10-2 and a postseason berth and all that kind of stuff is still fun to talk about and alive. So we'll talk about all that and much more. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right here on a dual effort. It's Off the Air with Matt Randazzo and the Hawkeye Report podcast all wrapped up into one. We'll be back right after this. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Yeah, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss pre-arrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Welcome back to Off the Air, a special post-game edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Also, a dual effort with the Hawkeye Report podcast. Tom Kakert still working hard in the press box. We are officially on to Sunday morning, 12:10 in the morning. Tom Kakert and a lot of other media
Let's
still
wrap this
working
bad
hard.
boy up.
Absolutely. Let's look ahead to next week. We don't know a time just yet, but Tom, it's going to be 2:30 against the Gophers, wouldn't you think?
I would think so, but I don't know who has the first pick. Usually that's the determining factor on those things. So I know UCLA, who's suddenly red hot, is at Indiana. That might be an interesting game to one of the TV networks. I think Michigan and Michigan State play next week, perhaps. So maybe that's interesting to people. We'll see. But I would think Iowa's going to be either the big noon kickoff or the CBS game, I think. That would be my guess.
Yeah, no, I think no more night games at Kinnick Stadium. We've been talking about that as well. The Gophers coming to town.
We can't say no more night games. We don't know for sure that Michigan State or
no, I think they cannot play any more night games at Kinnick Stadium. They've reached their quota.
Okay.
That's the thing right now. So that's what I've been told, is that was the last night game. And in fact, I'm pretty sure Dolph even mentioned it on the post game tonight as well. So no more night games at Kinnick Stadium because they've played so many, they've reached their quota. They could play. We know the road game times, so it's not going to happen on the road. So I know it's been announced 1 or 2:30. I'm guessing 2:30. But anyways, Gophers coming to town. They just beat Nebraska on Friday night. Yep. It's that rivalry game. It's at Kinnick Stadium. Your thoughts, early thoughts, I know early on the Gophers.
They're playing good. I mean, their record's really tremendous this year. And they've played really good football, and they're a lot like Iowa. They're winning games like Iowa wins games. They're just kind of, but they always try to out Iowa, and it doesn't work for it. It doesn't. Kirk Ferentz is the master of this, right? He's the guy that can do this all the time. And PJ Fleck has tried to emulate the Iowa program, trying to pull up their schedule here quick while we're talking, because I'm curious. I can't remember everything, but they played Friday night, so they're going to get an extra day of rest that Iowa wouldn't have. But they're 5-2, 3-1 in Big Ten play, just like Iowa. And their loss was to Ohio State, and they got trucked, 42-3. They also lost to Cal in kind of a surprising game, but I think Taylor, their running back, was out. Now, this is the second straight week Iowa's going to face a primo back. This week it was Katron Allen. There's Taylor had, how many yards did he have against Nebraska? It was a lot. He had 148. So, Katron had 145 today against Iowa. So he's a really good back, and they do just enough offensively, with Lindsey at quarterback. He was 16 of 20 for 153 and a touchdown against the Huskers. The Huskers just quite weird, strange, odd team. Again, they just 213 yards of offense for Nebraska. Still waiting for that great Pat Mahomes Jr. to bust loose, and he has not done that yet. So, big game for both teams, because you look at Minnesota, the rest of their schedule, they got they host Michigan State, they go to Oregon, they go to Northwestern, and they've got Wisconsin. I mean, they could win 3 of their last 4.
They could, but Northwestern is playing really good football right now, Tom. They shut out Purdue, I think, today, or real close to shutting it. I know it was 19-0 at one. 19-0 final. Not that Purdue's a world beater, but they're better than they've been in the past. And Oregon obviously tough, but you're right. They could win 3 out of the next 4. I just look at it, Tom, that when I got done with the Wisconsin game, I said that's a really good football game, and Iowa won that football game and dominated that football game. By the way, Luke Fickell should be fired probably tomorrow, in my opinion. They got shut out.
And their athletic director.
Yeah, I mean, it could get pretty bad up there in Madison as well. With that being said, I felt coming out of this game, Tom, Iowa won, but they didn't play near their best football, if that makes any sense. They made some mistakes and some errors that is very un-Iowa-like. I don't know if that happens 2 straight games. I think Iowa's going to play really well tomorrow, and then we can start talking. You get to 6-2.
Next week, not tomorrow.
I'm sorry, next week. Yeah, next week. But after that, it's a bye week at 6-2, and then you can start thinking. And I'm going to ask you this: if Iowa goes 10-2, they're in the college football postseason, correct?
They have to be. If you're a Big Ten team and you're 10-2, and you'd have
Oregon.
I guess the Penn State win doesn't look very good now, does it?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Unless Penn State went on a run.
But that means Oregon's out there too.
But you've probably ended up giving Indiana their toughest game, unless somebody knocks them off. You legitimately could have beaten them, and you'd have a win over Oregon, a win on the road at Nebraska, a win at USC.
Yeah.
So if they can get
I'm not
there,
saying it's going to happen.
Ifs, buts, candy, and nuts, but it's possible. It's at least something we can discuss. By the way, Oregon, they trailed 3-0.
Oh,
they scored the next 56 points.
Yeah. You knew that somebody was going to wear one after what happened last week, and that's exactly what happened with them as well. Real quick before I let you go, grade Iowa after 7 games.
Good question.
That's what I do.
Probably a solid B, I think. I think they're kind of about where you thought they would be. The road there hasn't been great. The passing game is still not there, but they're finding ways to win football games, and that's the ultimate goal, right? The goal is to win a football game. The win isn't they don't give you beauty points. They don't give you style points in this game. What matters is Can you put some crooked numbers in the left column and try to keep a 0 in the right one? And they're doing that. They're winning football games. They're finding ways. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. But it's not as pretty as last week when they won 37-0. I mean, that was a clubbing, but it was impressive tonight to see them show a lot of guts and muster and toughness. And you know what I really loved? I've never seen a Kirk Ferentz team at home do kind of the celebration that they did tonight. And that was pretty special. They, did the swag surf thing, dancing on the field and everything. And the guys are having fun. Mm. And there's a togetherness with this team that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was a fun night at Kinnick Stadium. Electric. That crowd was as loud. On that 4th down play for Penn State late in that football game, that place was shaking, and it was an amazing atmosphere. Iowa 5-2 on the season as they get ready for the Gophers next week. Tommy will have everything on the HawkeyeReport.com. He's working hard late tonight. He'll probably be up early tomorrow morning working. So if you're listening to this on Sunday and you want more Hawkeye coverage, go check it out, the Hawkeye Report, and you'll have Chuck Long on Monday with a podcast with Chuck Long as well. So plenty to get to on Tom's side of things with the Hawkeye Report, and of course you'll have some podcasts coming out as well. So that'll do it for the Hawkeye Report podcast side of things. We're going to take a quick break on the OTA side of things, and we'll kind of wrap things up and talk about a few more things right after some breaks. So Tommy, get some sleep, get more work done, all that kind of stuff. Drive safely, and I appreciate you, my friend.
Yep, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome.
Thanks
all
for
right,
listening.
We will be right back. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile party experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today.
Give me the keys. Learning to drive can be stressful for both the student and, yes, the parent as well. Relax. There's an easy way to avoid the stress. Skiles Driving School in East Moline has been helping new drivers hit the road with confidence for over 20 years. Whether you're a teen earning your first license or an adult looking for behind-the-wheel training, we've got you covered. Their certified instructors are patient, experienced, and use modern vehicles equipped for safety and comfort. From classroom instruction to real-world driving, we make learning safe, affordable, and even fun. Call 309-278-0098 or visit skylesdriving.com. Skiles Driving School. Get in, buckle up, drive your future forward.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, a post-game edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. The Iowa Hawkeyes knocking off Penn State tonight at Kinnick Stadium. I guess tonight. It's technically Sunday morning, but we'll go with tonight. They knocked off the Nittany Lions 25-24. Thank you to Tom Kakert. Still at Kinnick Stadium, working real hard, helping us go over and break down Iowa's victory as well. Of course, the night started for myself with the Hawkeye Tailgate Show on the Hawkeye Radio Network. Another great show, another bunch of fun. There's so much fun to do. We're live at Krause Family Plaza. Tonight's show, or earlier today, we had Pat Angerer, honorary captain Marcus Pascal. We also had Scott Docterman from The Athletic joining us as well. Reese Vanderzee, we had an Inside the Huddle interview with him. That was fun. So a lot of fun with that. We started the night with that. Of course, when it comes to our other schools, we kind of keep an eye on here. Of course, the Fighting Illini had a bye week, and Iowa State also had a bye week. So a quiet Saturday when it comes to the Illini and the Cyclones. It has been anything but a quiet week here on Off Day with Matt Randazzo. I want to thank everyone for the feedback and the fun. And when we get on with this show, we're going to be nearly 12 hours of content produced this week alone, the last 6 days alone. Which has been a bunch of fun. I'm very grateful and thankful for what we're doing. We were on the road 3 times. Tuesday, we were at Iowa Women's Basketball Media Day. It was a blast, a bunch of fun. Great guests the entire time. Addie Deal, Taylor Stremlow, Taylor McCabe, Journey Houston from right here in the Quad Cities. Coach Jensen joined us as well, Kyle Huseman. So a bunch of great stuff. If you missed that show, go check it out. It was Tuesday's edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We had so much fun. We said, heck, let's go back up there and do it again on Wednesday for the Men's Media Day. And we went, the lineup was Cooper Koch, Bennett Sturtz, Isaiah Howard also joined us as well. Brendan Hawson was over, the sharpshooter transfer from Kansas State. Ben McCullum joined us. Both Gary Dolphin and Bobby Hansen together joined us as well, which was a ton of fun with that one as well. And then Tom Kakert joined us at the end to wrap it all up. So check out those 2 shows. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, go to the YouTube page, go to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, give it a click, subscribe, all that kind of stuff as well. And then on Friday, we were at the Soul Bowl for our weekly Off the Air on the road. And it was a bunch of fun there at the Soul Bowl as well. So 5 shows during the week. And then, of course, this one tonight, a bunch of fun. Check it all out. Again, very grateful and thankful that people are watching, enjoying, giving the feedback. If you like what you're seeing and you want to give feedback and reach out, that's awesome. If you don't like something, that's even better. I tell people all the time, I'm just throwing stuff at a wall and seeing if it fits, seeing if it sticks. If it sticks, we keep doing it. If not, we kind of tweak and adjust as well. And I'm throwing a lot at the wall, and I'm going to continue to throw stuff at the wall. And I'm excited about some things in the future as well. So with all that being said, I'm going to take a break tomorrow. Nothing out of me tomorrow, but probably some housework, some time with the family, and some football. Bears and Saints. The Bears could get to 4-2. My beloved Lions don't play until Monday night, so I have to wait a day, which is kind of fun. I kind of enjoy not having a Sunday where I have to worry about my team, and I can watch everything else and actually get some work done as well around the house. So again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you to the sponsors throughout the week and the sponsors that we have for allowing us to do this each and every weekday at 10 a.m. This week was funky. It was like 9 a.m. on Tuesday and noon on Wednesday and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, you'll find us at 10 a.m. and that's where you'll find us on Monday morning. We'll have Pat Angerer, as we always do on our Monday, to chat with him as well. We'll catch up with some great stuff that happened in the high school football side of things. Some more guests that we're working on as well for this week and Monday. John Marks always joins me on Monday with a little Marksy Monday as well. So a lot to get to on Monday. We'll see you then at 10 a.m. on Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Again, final score from Kinnick Stadium, Iowa beating Penn State 25-24. The Hawkeyes now 5-2 overall on the season. Big game next week against the Gophers. We'll talk all about it next week and see if Iowa can get to 6-2 before their second bye week of the season. Thanks so much for joining us. We will talk with you guys again on Monday.